Welcome to the first annual AdLib Conference. Okay. I am, for those of you who don't know me, and there's like 3 of you, I am Amanda Bauer. I teach marketing and advertising courses here at Washington and Lee University. If you can't tell, I'm really excited to be here and have all this stuff going on. We have some great stuff going on tomorrow. I know a lot of you are signed up for a lot of stuff. To the best that you can without alienating any professors who you might have courses with tomorrow, strongly encourage you to go to as much stuff as you can. We have got, we've got New York back, we've got Chicago back, we've got Richmond back. We've got so much cool stuff coming on, so please go to as much stuff as you can. Before I introduce our speaker, I need to talk about a couple things. The first thing is, while AdLibs was my idea, there is absolutely no way this thing was going to happen remotely as well as it has without a fantastic team. And I am, it's like we talk about in 211, it's like great idea, crappy execution. Thank God for the fantastic execution. A lot of you have gotten a lot of emails from Dean John Jensen, who this just would not have happened as well without him. He graduated from Washington and Lee in 2001, and he went to take a job in Wall Street. When he interviewed back here, I asked him, what was your favorite part of your job? And he said, helping people, the new recruits and helping people kind of realize what they wanted to do and facilitating them. And so in December, he started back here in an assistant dean position, and his responsibility is doing exactly what he's doing now, which is helping you guys with these kinds of opportunities. I know that you're just going, it's just my job, whatever. I cannot tell you how grateful I am and how grateful you should be for the amazing stuff that he has put together on your behalf. And I do strongly encourage you to go by and talk to him. In fact, the other day he was like, make sure they talk to me, because he knows a lot, and he's just fantastic, and I can't thank you enough. I also need to thank, I told you I was going to do this, Caroline and Katie. They have been so fantastic. Thank you so much for everything you've done. You guys they've been very helpful with this team. They have spread the word about AdLibs. They have given us advice on what we should do. They have spread the word about AdLibs. They have given us feedback on some ideas that we had. They have spread the word about AdLibs. If tomorrow morning you get a Facebook message from them telling you that you should really sign up for AdLibs, please forgive them. They're sort of weaning themselves off of Facebook a little bit. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for everything that you've done. You guys are seniors, and it makes me very sad to say that I'm not going to let you graduate. You have to stay here forever. So anyway, okay, so now I get to introduce our keynote speaker. I am assuming, since you all dress pretty, that you also read his biography on the AdLibs website. So here goes. Let's talk about him a little bit more. After graduating from Washington and Lee in 1974, he went on to have a career that when I was writing this up, I kind of thought, well, this is worthy of a documentary. And then I thought, no, this is actually more worthy of a Tim Burton movie. but no Johnny Depp, more like an Albert Finney kind of Big Fish kind of thing. So there you go. He was an advance man for Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, and then he went on to work in concerts for music icons as well as Broadway shows, and then he went into the agency field for almost 30 years, right? His work has included strategic alliance marketing, loyalty programs, trade incentives, promotion fulfillment, event marketing, and sweepstakes management. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of his current agency, which is called Bottle Rocket Marketing Group. Bottle Rocket has clients in the entertainment, retail, consumer products, financial, fashion, and loyalty program industries. Put differently, you have no idea how truly cool this guy's job is. He played a big part in rebranding the Sci-Fi Channel. He put the Walking Dead zombies into Comic-Con. He put the battling Cadillacs into the Matrix movies. And probably most relevant to you, I know some of you, he put the cast of characters from Mad Men, as well as, more importantly, the cocktails from Mad Men, onto Delta Airlines. He has 38 awards from the Cable and Telecommunication Association, 18 awards from the Promotion Marketing Association, and also he has an Emmy and a Peabody, which I'm pretty sure ties you with Stephen Colbert. Now, right about now, you should really be thinking, holy smokes, I'm so lucky to get to meet this guy, and you totally are. But not just for the reasons that I just went through. This man is such a huge advocate for you and the things that you want to do. If his name seems somewhat familiar to you, it's because his name, and actually it turns out his, are on a plaque in Hillel over the deck. He has come back in the past to encourage students who are interested in advertising in terms of the things that they want to do. He has spent time, I know it's Robbie, at least, about giving our ad class students ideas for, ideas, information, encouragement, and he has even helped past fresh W&L alums who were in New York over the summer looking for an agency job with an internship to sort of tide them over. I know what your brains just did, and to my knowledge, he has never once had 24 interns at a time. Okay. Now, when it came time, when we sort of figured out that we were going to do this kind of conference, and I needed to get outside the organization, outside of W&L, he was my first phone call because I knew he was your strongest advocate. And when I told him what we were trying to do and what we were trying to accomplish, he said, whatever you need, I will make sure that you have it. So I told him that I really needed a trip to Hawaii. Sadly, there are limits to his generosity. Observe. Anyway, so what's my expectation? This guy's slightly more realistic. Hang on. The AdLib logo that you have seen everywhere, he had this designed for us. When it came time to get more alums to help us and to drum up support, both financial and, hey, go get them, he played a huge part in that. And he is taking time from his extraordinarily busy schedule. I don't think I have ever once talked to him on the phone in his office, and he's always in some airport somewhere, to come down here and to give you words. And these words are very well considered, and I strongly encourage you to listen to them and to really kind of think about them over the next few days. Because the number one thing, the number one priority for him is for you guys to sort of assess and understand the resources that you have available to you, to see the possibilities that you have in your life, and then to go out and quite simply be awesome. And so I say all that to say this. If it weren't for you, this conference, it would have still happened. But it wouldn't have been this awesome. And for that, I cannot thank you enough. And they can't thank you enough. So anyway, thank you very much.
Sit here. Sit over here. Wow. I wish I could have been here tonight, but I'm going to have to refocus this whole thing. I wasn't even going to say thank you yet. So, but God bless you.
So about Hawaii.
Tickets are in the mail. I'd like to thank a lot of people. I'd like to thank our deans. I'd like to thank you. But I'm not going to yet. So here I was 25 years ago And I had the opportunity, I was told, we'd like you to promote the first outdoor sportsman show in New York City. Let me say that again, outdoor sportsman, hunting, camping, and fishing
In New York City.
in Manhattan at the Javits Center. And for those of you who have been in New York City, as you know, that the only fishing you do in New York City is for dimes between tracks in the subway with a piece of gum. And they said, we're going to bring hunting, camping, and fishing to New York City, something that I'm sure that all of New York was waiting for. And I said, okay, your check's as good as anybody's, and I'll take it, because I'm in the marketing business and I can sell anything. So they came up with a whole thing they were going to do with displays and RVs and all this. And they said, in order to drum up support for this, you know, we also want to bring in some attractions. And some of the attractions were a guy who did log rolling, you know, like up in the woods, and another guy who was a quick draw artist, and he was going to shoot guns. And the most exciting thing they came up with was a Seminole Indian who did alligator wrestling. So we're advertising, we're doing promotions, and all the kind of stuff that I used to do at Ringling Brothers. And of course, they didn't have the big budgets to give me assistance or anything, so they sent me to JFK Airport to pick up the Seminole Indian and the alligators. And by the way, this is going to be your first example of ad-libbing in the classic sense, not in this sense. So I get to the airport, and I'm waiting for the guy to get off the plane. I've got the information, and the Seminole Indian's supposed to be there, and everybody gets off the plane. No Indian. Excuse me, Native American. So I go and I check, and this is long before there were the type of security measures we have today, and I said, where is he? They said, well, he got his ticket, but he turned it in and took cash. And he never got on the plane. But we do have a crate waiting for you. So I went to cargo with my van and the guy who was helping me, and we open up the crate, and there's 2 alligators in there. Both of them with their snouts taped with duct tape, and they're about 3.5 feet long each. I could have wrestled these alligators. So the issue was, the event's starting the next day. We're selling tickets. We're figuring out that this is going to be our big thing that we're opening with alligator wrestling in New York City. So we call the ASPCA, and we call the Bronx Zoo, and we call all the newspapers, and we're going to have a press conference. And we talked about how we rescued these alligators, and we wouldn't let the Seminole Indian get on the plane because he was abusing them. And we were donating the alligators to the Bronx Zoo with the ASPCA, which made all the newspapers, it made all the TV stations, and we ad-libbed the marketing for it because we didn't have any wrestling. By the way, that was the one and only time there was a hunting, camping, and fishing expo in New York City. This was such a failure, I can't begin to tell you. So who would have thought that a life like that would really get me up here and qualify me to speak to you? Hitting the road as an advanced man for Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey for 6 years, running the marketing for scores of rock tours, for concerts, for Broadway shows, doing whatever it took to put butts in seats, to sell tickets, to sell ice cream, to sell coffee, pet supplies, whatever it might be that I've done over a career that spanned quite a lot of time. I've basically been a marketing renegade all my life. I guess in my mind, that's not the epitome of what you expect from the business school at Washington and Lee. It's not what I would expect either. Some of you have met me up in my office in New York. You've been to visit me there and seen what our operation looks like in New York. Since you were there the last time, we actually have another floor of that building as well. But who would have thought that my weird path would bring me here to speak to this group? I got to tell you, if you had said that one day you're going to speak in front of business students at W&L, I would have said, yeah, right. Because honestly, I was the guy with long hair in the 1970s who was the part owner of the head shop in town, who lived on a farm, who had had as much interest in tubing on the Maury River with a six-pack strapped to my side as I did to getting to class. And if you don't believe that, that's me in 1972, and that's my dog, not me. I still want to be this guy, and I still hope I'm this guy, because it's that guy who was really born here at this school and who gained the excitement from all of the training that I had here that makes me who I am today. It was here that who I am was really forged, and I had the opportunity to learn about who I could be and what the world had to offer me. And in this little enclave here that had no cable TV at the time, and if you were lucky and you stood just the right way to get the TV signal from Lynchburg, you got to see Jerry Falwell on Sunday morning. And WLUR was the epitome of really good radio. I wouldn't trade anything for being here tonight with you to talk to you a little bit about the opportunities that are out there and the opportunities that are right here in front of you as you put this together. I like to think that I'm still that guy. I hope I'm still that guy, and hopefully what I can do is give you a little bit of that. You know, over the last 2 weeks alone, this will give you a sense of what my life has been like. We put on the premiere party for the 5th season of Mad Men at the Plaza Hotel, where we had actors and actresses with John Hamm, and we had all people dressed up for 250 advertisers for the show. At South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, which most of you know about, we created a club for HGTV and did a public service project and had 30 bands play. We also executed a sweepstakes for Ty Pennington and Tim Gunn for their new show on ABC Daytime, The Revolution, on the internet. And we started designing a Macy's float for the parade this year for another one of our network clients, as well as signed a music act, a guy by the name of Modest Yahoo, who some of you may know who he is. And we're now going to be working with him now that he's shaved off his beard and is no longer wearing a yarmulke and has decided to go mainstream. A little reggae for you. But nothing beats being here tonight, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I want to tell you, it's great to be in Lexington. It's great to be here. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone involved with this, the students, the faculty, certainly Amanda, certainly your deans who are here. I want to thank my college roommate who picked me up at the airport today in Richmond and said, sure, I'll drive over and see you make a fool of yourself. I've been watching you do that forever. So I can say with a high degree of certainty that I would not be the person I am today if I hadn't had the opportunity to study both in the business school and the journalism school and have the liberal arts training that I had here to take on to what I do now. AdLib is very, very special to me. I want to tell you it's really something I want to caution you about. Try not to categorize this event. Not too much, at least. You know, what it's called is AdLib. And sure, we can say it's putting advertising and liberal arts together. But it's really more than just a specific connection between marketing and liberal arts training. What this is a confirmation of what you do here at this school. This is a confirmation of the liberal arts experience that you get at a school like this that allows you to dive deep, that allows you to find out who you are, and allows you to put pieces together that you couldn't do anywhere else. You know, when I was asked to speak tonight, I knew what I was expected. First, I was supposed to say thank you. I think I did that. A few words about the event itself and the stuff you're going to see, and it's really terrific, and I think I did that. And give you a little insight into my own life and what I've done, and we're starting there. But imagine being told just before showtime, when you're with the greatest show on earth, that Mishu, the smallest man in the world, has been locked in a locker backstage by two of his performers that he works with because he was drunk and a little too amorous, and they can't get the padlock off 5 minutes before the opening number, and I have to find a midget to replace him. It's more than a marketing job, and it's an adventure. Or you're challenged to market a serious Broadway show called Devour the Snow. For those of you who have ever read history or literature, it's the story of the Donner Expedition. It's about cannibalism. Is it any surprise that it opened and closed on the same night? Yeah, it's an adventure. But imagine making a $100 million deal between Samsung and the Matrix movies so they could use all the iconography from that movie in their worldwide advertising campaign, and I got to do that. So there's all different things that happen. Clearly, look, my own colorful career provides a lot of fodder for great stories. But I'm going to leave those alone tonight, because guess what? Those stories get better with age. They get better with the age of the stories, and they get better with my age. And certainly because I am the age of many of your parents, they get really boring too. You know, I could tell you those stories. I'm going to talk about those over coffee if you want to talk to me about anything. Tonight, I want to spend my time with you talking about something that's a little more philosophical, hopefully a little more important, and hopefully will give you a little more insight into what's happening here and what happens next when you leave the Shenandoah Valley. As much as I love being here, you gotta leave even though you can come back, right? Yep. I said, the greatest salesman in the world, right here. Okay, I said, how did you say to your wife, we're leaving New York City and we're going to Lexington? He said, she went to W&L. I said, okay, case closed. I want to leave you with the secure knowledge that what happens here at W&L is of greatest value when you look at it holistically. This is a resource that prepares you for what's next. It really does, like no other. So, with that in mind, I want to talk to you about something specific. You know, in thinking about what I wanted to share with you, I said to myself, one of the first things that you learn in marketing and in business school is the facts speak for themselves, right? How many times have every one of you heard this at some point in your life? I remember my father talking to me about where was I going to go to school. He showed me a piece of paper. By the way, he went to W&L. And of course, he showed me why W&L was the right choice. Because the facts speak for themselves, right? He would show it to me perfectly. It's a statement we all know. It's a statement that typically stops a conversation instead of starts a conversation. The facts speak for themselves. As a grouping of 5 words, it's become one of those assumed truths. I can even remember it in every situation it's ever been said to me, and I went, huh? What do you mean the facts speak for themselves? Well, guess what? The facts do not speak for themselves. It's going to give pause to an accounting major. It's going to give palpitations to an economics major. You know, the facts, that's what I work with all day in business school. My God. The facts are just the facts, and they can't speak for themselves. If the facts spoke for themselves, what the hell was I doing listening to my father? All I had to do was look at the facts, and I would have chosen where to go. You know, it should have been obvious based on the facts. Let's put it in a real-world perspective for all of you here. If the facts speak for themselves, we have no need for political debate. We have no need for elections. All you have to do is take a look at the facts to make your decision. That's it. Why? Because the facts, if they speak for themselves, they would point the way for us to vote. If the facts were to speak for themselves, no product or service that must go into the marketplace to find a buyer, whether it's a consumer packaged good, whether it's a banking product from credit cards to investment products, whether it's entertainment like movies or theme parks, whether it's an automobile from an Audi on down, all the facts would speak for themselves. After a career in marketing that has spanned more years than I care to count in this room right now, I can say without any fear that there is one truth. The facts don't speak for themselves. And I would venture to say that every professional marketer, by the way, who've just joined us in this room, would argue with you that we give the facts a voice. We speak for the facts, they don't speak for themselves. By the way, welcome some of the people you're going to be talking to tomorrow. If the facts were to speak for themselves, our careers would be totally unnecessary. We as marketers, we take the facts, we massage them, we romance them, we enhance them, and we dress them up in a way that engages a target audience so that they make a purchase and we keep our jobs. We're marketers, every one of us, every day, in everything we do, because the facts just can't speak for themselves. We make the facts palatable for everyone, and we make the facts work for us. The facts speak for themselves. Don't you believe it for a minute. Because if you do, I wouldn't have a career, you wouldn't be listening to me, there would be no need for this event, and you could all pay for your dinner and go home right now. In my experience, we as marketers, we speak for the facts, and that's where the fun begins, and that's what's rewarding for every one of you who is looking at this as a career in any way, shape, or form. This event, AdLib, is the ultimate acknowledgement of the need to speak for the facts. There's a balance that has to be struck, though. The relationship between the facts and the communication of those facts makes magic. It makes careers, it makes companies, and it makes business success stories that we all want to hear about. Being a successful business professional comes from mixing up a witch's brew of learning you get at W&L. In my case, it's what I learned in my marketing courses from L.K. Johnson, which I still have my notes from to this day. And you hear his name every year when they give out a scholarship in his name. It's combined with my editorial writing courses from Pax Davis in the journalism school, stirred with a strong dose of history classes from Dr. Charlie Turner, adding the spice of film courses from John Jennings with a dollop of sociology from Ken White, with English classes from Huntley, art classes from Dr. Jew, with economics from John Gunn, with accounting from Jay Cook. You put it all together, and that makes sense of the world you live in and the one you must communicate in as a marketer. Until last year, for 10 years, I taught marketing, sports and entertainment marketing specifically, at NYU. And during that time, the single largest challenge that I faced was teaching students who knew all the facts how to communicate those facts and how to write those facts up. They had a problem in telling their story and telling a story to people that they had to convince. The facts do not speak for themselves. A balanced education helps you learn how you can get the facts to speak loudly. A broad-based liberal arts course dimensionalizes what you learn and helps you to communicate. You know, in the world of marketing, just look at the creative executions and ads that win our hearts, our minds, and our wallets. These campaigns employ and leverage the facts, but they mix in history, they mix in art, psychology, and every conceivable creative reference to engage us and ultimately to help us make a purchase decision. One of my favorite quotes, by the way, is from my client who was the vice president of marketing of the History Channel. He said, "Programming is what happens between the commercials." And it's really true, because that's where the marketing is happening. You know, just barely 2 months ago, the Super Bowl ads that you saw, they're a great example of taking the facts and taking pieces of those facts to put them together and turn it into something more exciting, to give us a memorable and entertaining experience, but also an experience that helped us to go into our wallets and buy. You know, if you think that every one of those spots came up from, I got a great idea for a spot, and then they made it, you got another thing coming. That was a balance of the facts and everything else. Every spot, every second of every spot was designed with a healthy respect for the facts. The wants, the needs, the desires, the aspirations, and the sensitivities of the audience that the sponsor was looking to connect with. That 30 seconds or 60 seconds that cost millions of dollars to put on that screen was thought out in every way, with focus groups, demographic profiling, psychographic analysis, response projection. Those were the facts that they could count on. The Audi spot for their new daylight headlights, that was made possible with a lot of things that came from the Twilight movies and from True Blood. Honda dug into the movie archives to bring Ferris Bueller back to life, and in the process create a social networking sensation. At the same time, you had Kia's Mr. Sandman commercial using music of the 1940s, softened with children's stories that we all know. This didn't happen by accident, and this didn't happen through the singular efforts of marketers who are only dealing with the facts. As a marketing investment, these spots optimize the facts about the products through the creative lens of history, music, film, and pop culture. And that's the way it should be. This points to the obvious conclusion. The way you learn to communicate the facts is through a healthy, balanced education that gives you the reference points you need to come up with that big idea for a commercial or a marketing plan. My colleagues in this room all have competitors in business. Some even compete head-to-head right here. They'll tell you themselves they look for every opportunity to make an impression with a client, with the industry, with the public at large, and with their target audience. The facts are not enough to differentiate them. It's the development of the relationship, the creative sensibility, and the communication style that brings the facts to life that makes the difference in business. Because the facts don't and can't speak for themselves. AdLib, in its purest form, is an examination of how we communicate the facts in such a way that it moves people, moves business, and moves us to action. The facts speak, but not for themselves. They speak clearly, convincingly, and they speak eloquently and appropriately to an audience that expects to be engaged. That's the essence of what AdLib is. And I really want to take this opportunity to welcome you tonight and tomorrow to something that's going to be really exciting. Thank you.